So in the meantime, then, I am Rami Avidan, and I'm the CEO of the Tele2 IoT business. How many of you have heard about Tele2 IoT? Raise a hand, please. Okay, quite a few of you. For those of you that haven't heard of us before, you should read the latest Gartner. Should I move, Hassan? Yes? You should read the latest Gartner Magic Quadrant report. It will tell you a lot about us. So Tele2 IoT is a subsidiary of the Tele2 Group, wholly owned, completely separated legal and fiscal entity that was created around 5 years ago. We are around 150 people, purely focused on IoT, where we sell services to customers today using our services in 165 countries around the world, which is pretty damn phenomenal, right? We have a slightly different approach to most of the other CSPs around. We don't deliver end-to-end solutions in any given verticals. We provide horizontal solution that goes across all verticals. And then we partner with lots of different types of players to create end-to-end solutions. Now, there are a lot of reasons for this. I would argue the most important reason is that, as you've heard in the panel, and I think in some of the sessions earlier in the day today, there isn't a single customer that is exactly identical to another player, even in the same vertical, in the same market, wanting to achieve the same things. They have different requirements and different needs, which means that you as a player in the ecosystem, you have to have the ability to interact with so many different types of players all the time. So I think for us, it was really about a scale game. If we wanted to really scale this business to a globally strong player in this ecosystem, you have to have a very strong ecosystem player. And I'll come back and touch upon that a little bit later. So, not sure how much you've heard about this before. How many of you have heard about the Overshoot day before? Raise a hand. Okay, some of you, not enough. So the Overshoot day is the day during the year where we consume more of the resources than the world can produce during that year. Of course, this year, does it say 17? Yeah, in 17 it was August 2nd. In 16 it was August 8th. What that means is that for every year that passes, we lose a week. And of course, there are lots of other macroeconomical changes that are happening on this planet, right? We're becoming many more people living here. We're becoming older. I'm not sure I think that's a problem for myself, but in general, it is actually posing us a problem because we're also becoming sicker, not healthier. So these are all macroeconomical, big things that are happening on our planet. And so, of course, for these exponential problems, we need to find exponential solutions. And so, we believe that there are many, many solutions to these problems. Some of those solutions are the fact that we are going to be able to mitigate them with digital solutions. And IoT is, of course, part of sometimes of a digital solution. And so this is how we at Tele2 IoT define IoT. It's really about being able to automate real-time decision-making. And when we say decision-making, we're not necessarily talking about a person. It could be a person, but most of the time it's another machine, talking to another machine, and based on the information that the machine is receiving, it's then automating some sort of action somewhere. Now, the beauty with IoT, for the players that are playing in the ecosystem of IoT, is that this is going to affect every single industry, every single region, every single person on this planet, sooner or later. That's the beauty of IoT. Now you're thinking, I'm sure there are lots and lots of industries that are not going to be affected. You're thinking to yourself, maybe the insurance industry. UBI, a user-based insurance, right? Where you're no longer going to pay a fixed premium on your insurance for your car, where you're actually going to pay a premium based on how you drive, when you drive, where you park, right? That wouldn't be good for me. My wife would probably be happy because she's a really good driver, calm, whereas me, not so much, right? The message here is that if you're sitting in the room now thinking that you're here to just understand, this might not affect us, I guarantee you it is going to affect you in one way or another. Now, of course, when we look about IoT and going digital in general, from a B2B perspective, these are the obvious values that our customers are looking at. It is originally, it stems from, of course, that companies wanted to become much more efficient. They wanted to be able to reduce their costs. And then, of course, on the back of that, they then realized that, you know what, we can maybe build new type of revenue streams. And of course, one of the big things in the revenue streams is moving away from selling products to selling services. And of course, when you do that switch from selling products to selling services, of course, being able to have an idea of the quality that you're delivering to your customer is rather very important. So you need to have a constant eye on the ball. And then lastly, of course, in some markets around the world, there are these environmental credits that you can get, tax credits, i.e. meaning from a B2B perspective, if you forget about the fact that you want to look good not only for your employees, but also for your customers in the market that you're acting, i.e. from a brand awareness perspective, you might actually, if you are able to prove that you are reducing the burden on the environment, you are now actually able to get some tax benefits from doing so. So these are historically the big aspects that customers have been looking at. Now, of course, what we are seeing big time are the shifts from the linear business models to the circular business models to be able to cater to some of these potential benefits that are out there, right? Now, some of these benefits, when you run a linear business model, you will be able to capture, but you're not going to be able to fully capture all of those until you actually move over into a circular business model. Let me paint you the picture. Are there any people in the audience from any white goods manufacturers? Okay, good. Well, there is one, so please don't kill me now. So, white goods manufacturers. Most of you have a washing machine at home. The washing machine is supposed to last you 7 to 8 years. Then it's supposed to break. Why? Because they want to sell you yet another washing machine. That's the linear business model, right? They build a product, they sell it to a distributor, who in turn sells it to you. Now, here and behold, we know for a fact that the white goods manufacturers can produce a washing machine that lasts for 40 to 50 years. The reason why they haven't done it so yet, financial. Because of course, they would do that. It would have an immediate impact on their financials, their revenue streams. So what a lot of them are doing, they're slowly but surely moving over to the circular business model, i.e. moving away from selling a product to selling a service, where they're actually not selling the washing machine, where they're selling the service of the washing machine. Now, in that type of environment, the white goods manufacturer has a very, very good reason to produce a machine that lasts for a really, really long time, because that's when their margin grows. Same product, they're delivering to the customer, making a margin over 40 years rather than 7 and 8 years on the same product line. Now, that will have great impact on the overshoot day. Imagine if everybody, and of course not everybody will, but imagine that only 5% of the producing companies out there would move over into circular business models. Can you imagine the environmental impact, the positive environmental impact we would have on the overshoot day? We would use dramatically less of our resources on the planet, which is going to be fundamental for us. What we are going to talk about a little bit now is where we see the real value when you implement IoT. And this can be extrapolated across any business. We see that the real value is about customer intimacy. We are 100% certain of that whatever industry you're in, whatever you do, the winner, whatever winner means, in that industry is going to be the player that knows the most about their customers. And translating that knows into a relationship. Being able to, day in and day out, know exactly what my customers are doing, thinking, feeling, wanting. The more you can know of all of that, the closer your relationship will be with your customer, because you're going to be able to be smart. You're going to be able to know which type of products to produce, where to sell them, how to sell them, what's working, what's not working, right? So we are 100% certain of that customer intimacy is going to be the winning factor for any type of business in any type of vertical going forward. So if we take, are there any players from the automotive industry in the audience? There are a few. So if you feel that I'm completely wrong, you can tell me outside. I hope I'm not completely wrong now. If you take the automotive industry, what are they doing? You know, they're talking a lot about connecting up their vehicles of different sorts. They're talking about autonomous driving cars. A lot of them are investing in it. They're creating car pools. They're selling services in the vehicle, OTT services, infotainment services in the vehicle. Now, why are they doing that? Are they doing it only to make money on the services that they're actually selling? No, we believe this is about customer intimacy. They're taking us on a journey for two specific reasons. Number one, most of us, and please forgive me if I'm offending someone, and most of us in this room are above 40. The new buying generation, the way that they want to buy is OpEx, not CapEx. i.e., they don't necessarily have a desire to own their vehicle. As a matter of fact, they prefer not to. They don't want to have the hassle. That's why the leasing concept have moved from the US into Europe now, where we're leasing a vehicle and we're getting everything included. We don't have to think about anything. As soon as it breaks down, we hand it in, we get a new one, and off we go. But we still have to worry about parking. We still have to worry about taxes and God knows what. So in the future, the way that the automotive manufacturers, of course, positioning themselves is to sell the service of transportation. You will have the ability to have a car at your beck and call through an app that will automatically show up to your door, pick you up and take you where you want to go. You are not going to have to worry about taxes or breaking down. You're not going to have to worry about parking. You're not going to have to worry about anything. And so they're taking us on this journey. The second very important thing that we believe that they're doing is that the way that most automotive manufacturers today are actually taking their vehicles to market is through a dealer. Some of them own the dealerships, most of them don't. So how does that work? I come into the dealer and I like John. John always sells me my cars. I like him because he throws in free winter tires. I live in Sweden. Yes, I need winter tires. He gives me a nice cup of coffee, and he lets me test drive all the new fancy cars that are coming in. I like John. Now, if John would move to another dealer, or if the dealer would add another brand into the dealership, there is a high chance of me actually listening to John saying, maybe you should move from a Volvo to a, what do I know, BMW. Probably bad example, but nevertheless. So this is about minimizing churn. And the way we do it is by increasing customer intimacy. So what are the vehicle manufacturers doing? They're creating all of these grand new apps and solutions that will make you be very connected to them as a brand and their vehicle rather than how you procured it or who is actually helping you to serve the vehicle. So this is about customer intimacy. And so this is just one example out of many. Now let's watch a movie of another example. So this movie was, we made for one of our customers, Martin and Servera. They're the largest distributor of beverages in the Nordics. And so they sell into restaurants and conference centers and hotels. And they were number 2 in the Nordic market in that specific field. And so what they really came to us with was this notion of we want to become number 1, and we believe that customer intimacy is going to make us number 1. And they said, the way we want to do that is that we want to increase, positively impact the cash flow of our customers. And so we sat down, we had a brainstorming together with some of our partners and Martin and Servera, and what we realized was a lot of their customers have to place in stock a lot of the beverage, of course, because they make a lot of money on selling beverages, especially if they have alcohol in them. So they, of course, overstock to make sure that they never run out of the specific beverage that the customer actually wants. So what they wanted to do was to create a very, very strong system that allows them, to allow their customers to actually have less in stock, i.e. free up cash. And so that's what we started doing. So we built a system together. Martin and Servera implemented it. They took it to market, and the customers loved it. Now the beauty of this story is that we happened to find, or Martin and Servera happened to find the killer app the first time around. But the beauty of this, of course, is that over the next 18 months after that, they added lots and lots of new features and functionality on top of their existing solution. So the moral of that story is that you don't have to think about everything day one. The moral is, as long as you think that you found a good, solid solution that your customers will love, i.e. create value for them today, and as long as you build it openly and flexible enough, it will allow you to add more features and more functions into that same infrastructure that you've already taken out into the market. Right? As a matter of fact, the next product that they launched was selling it as a service. So not only could they now improve the cash flow from what the customers actually stocked, actually what they did, they prolonged the stock now. So actually the customer doesn't themselves pay for the stock. It's Martin and Servera that uses all of their customers as logistic centers. Right? So yes, they're playing bank, but this is also now how they've in only 2 years become number 1 in the market. It's about customer intimacy. It's about knowing what your customers actually want and being able to deliver on it. Make sense? Yes. Are you hungry? Yes, okay. I'll be quick. So, the essence of this, of course, is real-time data, right? To be able to do all of these things that we're talking about now, you need to have systems in place that allows you real-time data information. Because, of course, you now need to know how your customers are feeling before they know it themselves. So you need to have real-time data, and I think that's really the essence of IoT, enabling real-time information distribution and automating that decision-making. And finally then, you know, it says MNO here. How many, are there CSPs in the room here? There are a couple, right? Yeah. One? I know orange is here, yeah? Two? That's it? Okay, good. So, from a CSP perspective at least, you know, very often when we go to market, we like to go to market in very rigid fashions. This is our network, small, medium, large packages. But actually in the space of IoT, you have to be extremely flexible. You have to have systems in place that allows interoperability with lots and lots of other systems of systems. You need to allow for flexibility on not only on the technology side, but also on the business model side. You need to allow your customers to start small and scale fast to their vision. So it is about being able to be extremely flexible. And I think above all, it is about connecting the dots. And I think you've heard about ecosystems throughout the day so far. And I think for any CSP to play in this space, you have to have an ecosystem approach. Because there isn't a single player in the world, no one, not Google, not Apple, not Microsoft, not Siemens, I'm sorry, that will be able to deliver an IoT solution in their own right. You have to work with so many different types of players. And so you have to have an ecosystem approach. And it has to be very clear, and you have to be very clear with your position. And so at Tele2, we've been extremely clear with how we position ourselves, where we take very much an orchestrator role, where we orchestrate our partners, i.e. making sure that we have the right type of partners that we need to be able to cater to our customers, and where we then do introductions, not only between partners, but also between partners and customers. That's how you really get all of this going. And I think being able to connect the dot is clearly very, very important, potentially not only for the CSPs, but for all the players in this ecosystem. And so finally then, wrapping up, right? I mean, we truly do believe that there are a lot of values implementing in IoT solutions in your businesses. It is going to be about customer intimacy long term. We believe that real-time data is going to be the real driver around customer intimacy. And of course, if you are a player in the ecosystem, you know, connecting the dots are going to be fundamental for you. Thank you very much.